Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Raw Recap, or should I say the Wrestling Recap, because we're going to cover a lot of things today. The AEW versus NXT stuff, Friday Night SmackDown that happened here in LA, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and then we're going to talk Raw. So there's a lot going to be happening. We might even slide in a Joker review. All right, there you go. That's what we're talking about. I'm your host, John Rocha, joined as always by the man who's been traveling around the world over the last few days, covering all this stuff with wrestling on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. That is Rocha and Satin. How are you, bud?
Boom, that's me.
Yep.
We're not probably. I'm still working out the schedule. We're probably not. Gonna always cover this much stuff here. But like John Rocha said, I have been traveling. I was not here last week. We didn't get to do a Raw recap. We didn't get to do Wrestling Sheet Radio. A lot happened. We didn't get to talk about it. So I did want to cover a little bit of it. Hopefully, it's not too late for you guys. Hopefully, you haven't heard all this to ad nauseum from all the other podcasts you listen to. But I wanted to talk about a few of these little things. And like I just said, I have been traveling. So if you haven't checked them out yet, I've been uploading a ton of interviews to the Wrestling Sheet YouTube channel. I got on there, talking to Triple H, talking to Shayna Baszler, talking to Matt Riddle, talking to the Undisputed Era, talking to Bianca Belair, talking to Street Profits. All have lots of good stuff to say. Make sure you guys check out those videos. Eventually, probably sometime later this week, I'm going to upload those as one long episode to the podcast feed as well. But if you go watch the videos, if you've got some extra time, it helps me out a lot. If you check them out, it helps me convince Collider to send me to more stuff like that. So please, they're not super long. They're all only like max. They're like, some of them are 10, but most of them are like 5 minutes. So please, if you can, go check them out. I appreciate it a lot. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys like the videos. Leave comments. I've been, I like them as well. So I reciprocate. So please do that for me. It helps me out a lot. But like John Rocha said, a lot of stuff happened. And it kicked off with AEW versus NXT. Now, you didn't watch NXT yet.
I did not watch it, no.
But you did watch Dynamite.
Yes.
What were your overall thoughts about Dynamite?
Incredible. What do you want me to say? There's nothing more to say. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed what happened between the wrestlers there and what they were setting up and everything. That I just thought to myself, like, this is how you come out the box. And then when you look at Hell in a Cell, in retrospect, when you compare it to Dynamite, you're like, okay, this is what this is.
Well, I don't know if it's fair to compare Dynamite to Hell in a Cell. Why? Well, no, you compare
Dynamite comes out on top, so I think it's fair.
But you got to compare it to like SmackDown or Raw, if that's what we're going at. And SmackDown crushed Dynamite. That had 4 million viewers.
Oh, you mean views?
And it was a better show.
I don't agree with you at all, but okay.
Really?
Yes. Oh my God. SmackDown. Yeah, no, I can't. But anyway,
what did you like about? Well, no, I want to know what you. I don't. You're very general here, and I'm a little wondering what you like much about it.
You talk first.
No, I'm wondering because I don't dislike it, but you seem to love it. Like they did something great, and it's not that I didn't love it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the show that I watched, but I did feel like
did you feel they were treading some old ground, or that they didn't advance stuff that was more interesting?
I guess not treading old ground is not the right word. I think that, for the past 10 months, they have been talking like such a big game about how they're going to like reinvent wrestling. It felt like, we're going to reboot wrestling. I think was even mentioned by Cody at one point that Tony Khan wants to reboot wrestling.
Right.
That they were going to do things differently. And I don't know if I felt like I saw things that a show that drastically did things differently. To me, I felt like I saw a show that was a good wrestling show.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. If I watch it every week, I'm going to be pumped. I have a hard time believing they're going to be able to keep up that pace of wrestling every week. That's going to be tough, especially if they're going to have these dark match shows now as well on Tuesdays. But it's not that I didn't like it. I don't want it to look that way.
Okay.
I just felt like they talked such a big game, and I don't know if I felt like. I feel like the people who were talking about how much they loved it more so have a hate boner for WWE, and we're just excited to have something different out there.
Well, I certainly don't have that. I just enjoyed the fact you had something. I don't have a hate boner for WWE. I just want it to be good. You look at this. I mean, I thought the Rhodes Guevara match was good. I thought the reaction afterwards, the shaking of the hands, and that weird conversation, which has been some funny memes going on about that conversation. You didn't like it.
Well, because the only thing I didn't like about it.
Don't you like the four horsemen hugging each other?
I liked the match. The match was really good. They had a killer match between the two of them. I didn't like the handshake afterwards because Sammy Guevara had just put his hands on Cody's wife not like 5 minutes before that and shoved her in front of him so that Cody would hit her. And 5 minutes later, he's just cool with the fact that he put his hands on the guy's on his wife.
Hey, you know how it is in the heat of battle.
In the heat of battle, sometimes you hit a man's wife.
No.
I don't know what
in wrestling.
I don't know what fights you're getting into over here. But
in wrestling,
in the fights that I have seen, that's like no number one. And so the fact that the guy put his hands on his wife to get this major heel heat,
but she's a heel. So what's the difference?
What fair? But to Cody,
The Rock put his hands on Stephanie, on woman. Like
Cody,
you've seen.
But to Cody, that's his wife,
right? But she's still a heel.
But not to Cody. And to Cody, you got to defend your wife's honor. And this guy just put his hands on your wife, and then you put your hand, and then you shake his hand. Obviously, this was done just to set up the attack from Jericho, which was done well.
That was fantastic.
I like the attack from Jericho. I like how it went into the commercial break. I like how they had the picture-in-picture going. That was smart, since NXT had said they were going to have limited commercial breaks. I like everything that happened with Jericho. Also, I don't want to gloss over the fact that my favorite part of the whole show probably was the package that they did before Sammy versus Cody.
Yep.
It was very Road 2-esque, like they've been doing on their YouTube channel. It had a very like UFC fight like feel where you were seeing them in their real day-to-day lives. I liked that. I thought that was really good. If anything, their whole like, they didn't say these words, but the whole like reinventing the wheel kind of thing. To me, that was the most different approach of like, okay, I like that. That's like reality documentary based in 2019. That's the vibe. I liked that. I liked the renegade vibe of AEW. I felt like the whole show, because it was a little less polished than WWE, because there was a little less people walking on eggshells thinking that they have to answer to Vince McMahon afterwards. I do feel like it had a little bit more renegade vibe to it. I liked Pac versus Hangman. I liked the women's.
That was a good match.
I liked the women's match. I loved the main event. I thought the main event was great. In terms of like showing off who you're supposed to be interested in. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho. And also
did you like Swagger coming in?
Ortiz. I liked Swagger coming in so much more than other people liked Swagger coming in, it would seem.
Yeah, I did.
The internet reaction was very negative towards it.
Well, because Swagger, the last time, he hasn't really kind of built up that kind of thing. Oh, Jack Swagger,
And also he had some people didn't love his run in Lucha Underground. I didn't actually watch it because that was the season I was protesting Lucha Underground, so I didn't really see it. You know what? The reason I liked it in retrospect, because I watched NXT first because I was there, and then I watched the AEW show, and I had already seen what happened, one, and two, I saw a few tweets that Jericho had retweeted, and it kind of explained it in a better way than what they did on TV. Not in a better way, I shouldn't say that, because it was supposed to be a cliffhanger. But one of the things Jericho retweeted basically was implying that this group that he has created is like his version of the Elite. It's like Bizarro Elite. So it's like the main guy, he's the Kenny Omega of the group, and then the young up-and-comer, which is like Hangman Page, they've got Sammy Guevara. And then that's a weird one.
You got Santana and Ortiz.
Santana and Ortiz, like the Young Bucks.
And
Jack Swagger's the Cody, the former WWE guy who people underestimate, you know? So I kind of like that dynamic. And so also, I know some people are like, oh, former WWE guys, it's just like WCW or Impact or whatever. But at the same time, like Jack Swagger, I always liked Jack Swagger. And I think that they need more size on the roster. Like they need big guys on the roster too. And so I think Jack Swagger helps bring that credibility and that size that they need.
I compare this moment to what happened with Brock Lesnar at the SmackDown thing, right? To Cain. Cain Velasquez coming out. The audience didn't know who the fuck Cain was. No offense, but nobody knew who the fuck, unless you're a UFC guy or person. There's not a lot of people who knew Cain was when he came out. When at least Swagger has some name when he comes out, some recognition, some reaction.
Wait. Are you saying that Jack Swagger
to
is
wrestling
a bigger
fans,
name than Cain Velasquez?
To wrestling fans, yes. I guarantee you they know who Jack Swagger is more than they know who Cain Velasquez is.
I don't think that's fair to say, because the reason people didn't know
the UFC fan base is a niche fan
base. I don't think people didn't
base.
know who Cain Velasquez was because I was there. I think it was more so we couldn't see him because the big screen wasn't playing who he was. So from far away, the people who were not close,
a
lot of us thought it was Dominic at first. A lot of us thought he was walking out with Dominic, and it was like, what's going to happen? And then when he took his shirt off, it was like, wait, that's Dominic's not that buff. Wait, oh shit, that's Cain Velasquez. And they didn't play it on the big screen until he got in the ring. Jack Swagger was in the ring on the screen instantly because he rolled in. He didn't come up from the ramp. So I don't know if it's quite comparable.
But people would have known as soon as he appeared at the ring.
Look, I watched the AEW thing. I don't think that he got much of he didn't get a giant reaction either, Jack Swagger.
That's not my point. My point is that people know him. So that's why.
But more people know who Cain Velasquez is than Jack Swagger.
I don't think so.
Well, it's not comparable.
What do you mean it's not comparable? Amongst wrestling fans, I think people know Jack Swagger more than they know Cain Velasquez. And so, so my point is
amongst wrestling fans.
That's what I'm talking. Well, who the fuck's who's watching
amongst
this?
People, Cain Velasquez is way more famous.
Who cares about that? I'm talking about wrestling.
Lots of people care because there's more people, more eyeballs on Cain Velasquez than there are on Jack Swagger.
Since when?
Since when?
I'm just saying to you, if it's Conor McGregor, that's a whole other conversation. Ronda Rousey,
Cain Velasquez is one of the biggest UFC fighters ever, too.
I don't think
you lost so many Mexican points here by the way you're talking about Cain Velasquez, because Cain Velasquez is a fucking Mexican icon. I'm sorry, Dad. And also he's the only guy. Well, not the only guy, but he's one of the few guys that is actually beating up Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great PR job for him, and congratulations, he should hire you. My point is that I understand why they went with Jack Swagger, because that's a name that people know in the wrestling world. So if you're going to slide him in, that's who you go with. Whereas when you go with Cain, you've got to do all this work to get people to catch up to understand why Cain even came out. You don't have to do that with Swagger. And that's what I'm saying. It's a shortcut that makes sense amongst the wrestling world. And they're not like WWE now is with Fox, and so they have a larger synergy picture that they have to play with. They're the up-and-coming upstarts, rebels, so they're using people that people know.
So you're telling me that if you were running a promotion, that you would rather have Jack Swagger than Cain Velasquez?
I would take neither.
You didn't answer my question.
Okay, I would take Swagger. If I'm running a wrestling... Hold on. Where am I running the wrestling promotion? What's my level?
If you were running... Okay, fine. You were running...
If I'm running the Rocha Wrestling Federation, and we're up and comers, I get Swagger every time.
If you're
I don't get Cain Velasquez.
If you're running AEW, let's say they put Rocha in charge of AEW, and they go, you only get one to put in Jericho's new stable. Who is it? Jack Swagger or Cain Velasquez?
Jack Swagger, without a question.
That's crazy.
You're biased because you're Mexican. I respect that, but I don't think Cain Velasquez has the name notoriety that other UFC fighters do. And so that's my point overall. Because the crowd, when he showed up, the crowd was like, who the hell is this guy? And it wasn't until the WWE it went backwards and showed video of him beating up Brock that people were like, oh, okay, we get it. But, that's a conversation for another time. Either way, I enjoyed Dynamite a lot. But I agree with you, Ryan. It wasn't like the boom explosion that you were hoping for. Yes. I think those pay-per-views leading up to this kind of did that for AEW. But remember what we talked about when we were first talking about them having a weekly show. It's great to start out the gate fun and awesome and you're new and boom. But can you consistently keep it? Because that's always been the thing with WWE. Can they consistently maintain quality through the Raw, through SmackDown, through NXT, through all those things? It's not easy to do. So the AEW
that's gonna be the biggest thing. Honestly, when I was watching both shows, I was thinking to myself, there's no way both of these shows can keep up this pace going forward for 2 weeks a year. Yeah. They're both gonna need to interject fun storylines as well. I'm sorry. They're gonna need to have backstage segments. They're gonna need to do that stuff. There's no way. If not, it'll get boring. I'm sorry. I loved the AEW. I thought Dynamite was fun, but I thought it was so stupid that in that main event that there's interference right in front of the referee, and because they refuse to do referee bumps, he's looking right at a disqualification, and he's just cool with it, letting Kenny Omega get taken out of the match and stuff. Yeah. By the way, Jack Swagger has 255,000 followers on Instagram. Cain Velasquez has over 1 million.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Just in terms of
Cain has a good social media presence. Congratulations. Congratulations.
NXT though, to switch gears a tiny bit before I have to move on. I know you didn't watch this, so I'll just kind of put a few brief thoughts out there. Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole was awesome. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Those two killed it. If you're like a indie fan who likes fast-paced PWG style matches, I mean, they definitely did that. That's what they presented. I loved the vibe of Full Sail. I know they kind of get a lot of shit sometimes on the internet.
Yeah.
Full Sail's audience, but I felt like they were really there trying to elevate the product, and to me, I enjoyed it. I loved the energy of the crowd. They were clearly all there to be part of it, and loved it. They weren't there where there's the people trying to do what chants, no offense, and shit on what they're watching. So I enjoyed it. I also liked we got to see Velveteen Dream for a brief minute.
Yeah,
we got to see
good promo.
A killer match from Candice and Shayna, two women who I think are fantastic wrestlers. Candice is one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time, so I loved seeing her in there, getting to show what she can really do. So yeah, I loved it. And then the main event where we saw the tag team titles on the line. Those four guys brought it. The fact that Finn Balor is NXT though. Let's talk about that. There's two things I want to talk about.
All right, break it down.
Finn Balor NXT. What do you think about Finn Balor being brought to NXT?
I think it's not a negative because remember I've been saying for many months on this show that if you're not getting over in one thing, going down to NXT is not necessarily a negative. Maybe you get less money, but it's not necessarily a negative. And now that NXT is actually on a network and promoted as a network show, then that's even less of a kind of demotion, quote unquote, that it could appear to be for Finn Balor. I think if Finn Balor is going to carry this thing, look, Jericho is on AEW Dynamite. Cody Rhodes is on AEW Dynamite. So the fact that you have Balor on NXT is not a negative. I think you're going to counter. And I'm sorry, as much as Adam Cole, baby, and all that stuff is great, you got to have a name. Balor is a great name to bring into the situation. And don't be surprised that more people don't end up finding themselves back at NXT. Apollo Crews being a prime candidate for that to happen, because sometimes that's where you do your best work, right? Not everybody who does independent films can do massive blockbusters. Not everybody's TV can do film, and not everybody's film can do TV. It's all where your talents shine the best. And to me, Finn Balor NXT makes sense. Occasional call up for Rumble or something like that so the fans can do the big celebration. Great. But I don't mind it.
I don't mind at all. I love it. I think it was a very smart decision. One of the things I had mentioned on here a bunch was how I was hoping that when he came back, it would be with the OC, and he would kind of get to be.
I know you wanted that to happen.
Full club again.
They were hinting at
it. But I actually think that, the reason I wanted that is because I felt like Finn needed to get like his edge again. He needed to kind of feel cool again, and I thought the OC could help him do that. But from watching him in NXT, I think sending him back to NXT to let him find that cool swirl around him that was there before when he got brought up to the main roster. I mean, things really got off the rails right after he got called up and he got injured after winning the Universal title. I think that, and he's never really been able to get back there. And I think that if there's any place that can kind of get him back there in the eyes of the fans in terms of like, that's a guy we can see doing that. Is a string of dope matches with top indie talent, not indie talent, top NXT talent, I should say. Some of the just that fast-paced indie style of wrestlers to show that he's still got it, that he hasn't lost a step at all. And also, one thing I had heard is that one of the reasons behind moving Finn back to NXT for a little while would be to kind of make the Demon cool again, to reestablish the Demon. I think the Demon was always better in NXT, and the Fiend is doing so well on Raw, minus what happened to Hell in a Cell, which we'll get to in a second. But I think they want to kind of get the Demon as a cool entity while not distracting from the Fiend on Raw as well. So I think this serves good purpose as well. Tommaso Ciampa came back at the end of the show.
Okay.
Pumped about that.
Cool.
I'm so happy to see that Tommaso Ciampa's back. I think that a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to come back at all.
Wow. Okay.
And so the fact that he's back, that he's cleared for action, very cool. And it's interesting that he's kind of being positioned as a face this time.
Yeah.
The fact that he came out against Adam Cole and kind of like confronted Adam Cole. Also, bad night for Adam Cole last week. He had a bunch of people confronting him. So it'll be interesting to see what title match comes out of that. So
you want to be the top dog. That's how it works. Okay.
You texted me afterwards, real unhappy about it.
Yeah.
What did you dislike so much?
I thought it was a bunch of obviously predetermined matches with no tension, no stress. Except I love The Rock coming out with Becky. That was great. What were some of the other matches? I thought they were really boring matches overall. And I thought the hoopla of it being Friday Night SmackDown in LA, blah, 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 the new graphics, I thought that got people seeing shiny, happy objects and didn't actually look at this look at the show and judge it on its merits. And to me, I felt like
also,
it didn't do that well.
You're also judging it too strongly because the point of the show was all that glitz and glamour that you're referring to, and not necessarily these like 6-star matches or anything like that. They were the point of it.
This is debut on Fox.
Yeah, and the point of it was to show off the new graphics.
What's the difference between this and AEW Dynamite?
Introduce what?
What's the difference between this and AEW Dynamite? They're both
50 years.
They're they're both premiering as quote unquote new shows
the difference was.
on new networks.
The difference is 50 years of history behind them. I mean, like the difference is that SmackDown has been on TV for 15 years. I mean, there's a huge difference. I mean, these are already established characters to lots of people. Right. And so they were trying to kind of like, hey, here's some of the people you're going to see. It was more of like an introduction of who you're going to see. Mm-hmm. To me, I thought they did a better job of like showing off who you're going to see than AEW did, because at least with WWE, these are people that are already known in the public eye. Yeah. I felt like AEW did a terrible job of establishing who any of these people are beyond that one promo thing they showed with Sammy Guevara and Cody.
I think you're not
they
wrong.
Assumed that everybody knew who everyone was.
Yep.
And to me, that's not how you build a new audience. Yep. And so I feel like they did a much better job of showcasing things that were going to get the Fox audience hype. Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury, Cain Velasquez, showing off a sports element of things, showing off that this is new graphics, showing that The Rock cares about this show. These are all things that the wrestling fan base were hyped on, I feel like.
I think some of them were. I think some of them weren't. I mean, there were a lot of people who didn't like the SmackDown thing overall because, look, this is the thing and I said this on live yesterday when we were talking about it. To me, I think wrestling fans, hardcore wrestling fans, devoted, loyal wrestling fans of the WWE and SmackDown, the show, the brand, need to understand this is what they're going to do now going forward. This is what the WWE is about with Fox, which is a...
I'm just saying it's great.
Yeah, in your opinion, which is a larger approach, a more macro approach to SmackDown, which implies they're going to synergize everything that's going on. Tyson Fury, we're going to bring him in. Cain Velasquez, UFC is on Fox. We're going to bring him in. This is all synergy. They're trying to connect everything through WWE. So the regular wrestling fan, a hardcore wrestling fan, might get left behind. Your sensibilities, your feelings, your ideas of how the storyline should go may not matter as much as they go after the more mainstream.
That's such a crazy
characters.
thing to say. Just because
I'm not crazy. I'm telling you.
One episode of a show that you said yourself was trying to get attention. Yeah. Clearly, they did those things for attention, not because they're disregarding what the wrestling fans think going forward. That's such a fucking crazy one-sided way of thinking.
I didn't say they were disregarding it. I said it's not going to matter as much.
Because AEW had Jay and Silent Bob on the show, that they're not going to care, but they're going to care about celebrities just as much as WWE, because they had on their first episode wanted to get some extra PR.
That's fair. And I didn't say they were looking for celebrities. I said it's synergy, which is Fox Sports and Fox UFC on Fox. Fox Boxing, the stuff they're doing with PBC.
UFC on Fox isn't a thing anymore.
They show the preliminaries on Fox. Yeah.
I don't think Fox and UFC don't have a deal anymore.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm almost positive that's the whole reason they got WWE is because Fox lost UFC. That's the whole purpose. That's why they bought.
Fox does the preliminary fights. They don't do, or ESPN. I'm sorry, you're right. ESPN has it, but UFC has been on Fox, right?
And they lost it. So there's no synergy with Cain Velasquez and UFC.
There is the fact that Fox did carry it for a while, so the fans understand they connect that.
But you lost one peg of that.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, but then you've got this idea. Why is Tyson Fury
has a huge following?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, though. They only care about. They seem this.
Only care about.
This is what I'm
always
seeing.
Cared about with this is the first episode. This is what people do. It's the same reason Jay and Silent Bob were on the first episode of Dynamite, and you're over here like, this is the best thing, and you didn't say one word about the fact that they were pushing Jay and Silent Bob for 20 minutes or for 15 minutes on Dynamite, but for some reason, Tyson Fury, who has a giant following as well, the sports
everything is context. Jay and Silent Bob are always the underdog type thing. They're from an independent movie background. So
That's not why they were there.
Connects to AEW as an independent movie in essence, wrestling promotion.
It's not why they were there.
Battling the big dogs. What do you mean?
That's not why they were there. They were there because they were promoting a studio movie. That has nothing to do with indie vibe.
A studio movie?
Yeah, the next Jay and Silent Bob is a
they're
studio
taking
film.
it through Fathom events on one night only stuff. It isn't like massive fucking promotion.
The new Jay and Silent Bob is definitely a studio film.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be made for like $50 million. It's a $10 million movie, if that. And so it's not like
it's not an indie movie. It's made by a studio.
All right, man. All right.
I'm just saying.
No, what you're saying is bullshit.
It's unfair. You say it's context. It's unfair.
It is context.
Yeah, context. How come when WWE has famous people involved, it's like that Fox Sports doesn't care about the wrestling fan, but when AEW has a celebrity on, you're like, oh, well, it's an indie vibe. It's okay when they do it.
I never said any of that. I never said that they don't care about the wrestling fan.
You just said that.
No,
it's a vibe
I said
that you
don't
see
be
going
surprised
forward.
if they don't factor their opinions in as much as they did before, because they're after bigger fish. They're after the more mainstream audience that cares about those celebrity type people like Tyson Fury or
why
Cain
doesn't
Velasquez.
AEW? When AEW had
Because
AEW had Jay and Silent Bob on the show.
That's not the same thing. It's not even remotely close.
Kevin Smith is just as big as Tyson Fury. Kevin Smith is a huge, giant following. He's on TV, multiple movies, major podcasts.
But it's always major. Look,
yes, major podcasts.
Kevin is
a whole podcast network.
Sure, but Kevin is he's attached. His name brand is to an independent vibe, independent film. Whether you want to accept it or not is really irrelevant. The truth is the truth. He is connected to an independent movie background, independent stuff. It took him this long to do the Jay and Silent Bob. He does comic book stuff. Once again, that's all.
That make you angrier?
No, because
that he's getting involved with wrestling than the guy who has a legitimate sports background who can actually fight people getting involved in wrestling, since that's something that's been done in the wrestling business since it fucking started?
No, because I think to me this makes a lot of sense.
Like, would you have been mad about Inoki versus Muhammad Ali too? You would have thought that was stupid and like shows that they don't care about wrestling fans.
Inoki versus Muhammad Ali? No, I wouldn't have had an issue with that. You know what? Tyson Fury ain't Muhammad Ali, son. Not even close. And not even fucking close.
We're going to put a pause on that one.
Yeah, I'm saying that this is where they're going now, the WWE. I'm saying the fans need to be prepared for this. They're going after the bigger fish. They're going after the more mainstream audience. They're not going to come back to I don't know that they'll come back to a more of a grittier, hardier edge. That's supposed to be Raw, which isn't really working.
How you got that from that. We've had Ronda Rousey in there we had Ronda Rousey in WWE for a year. No different than the Cain Velasquez situation. Having Tyson Fury make an appearance is no different than like Mayweather making an appearance. I just don't see how these are things that like signal some giant change. I just don't know how that makes. This is how it's always been in WWE.
We'll see going forward.
Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn. These are all time we've seen short stints of MMA guys.
Of UFC guys coming in, MMA guys coming in, right.
This is like some giant signal shift into the synergy thing. Yeah, I get it. Yes.
Strowman
Fox
is calling baseball games.
Velasquez. You know why Fox loves Cain Velasquez? Because he's a draw that people will watch that maybe haven't necessarily.
He's such a draw that when he came out, nobody knew who the hell he was, including you.
Because I was in a suite. I couldn't see his face until he took his shirt off. I went to take his shirt off.
How do you take your shirt off and see someone's face? His face was not covered.
Tattoos. Well, that's how his tattoos.
Yeah, but you should know him by face if he's so well known, a Mexican god.
I could barely see Rey Mysterio's face.
You saw The Rock. You knew who the fuck The Rock was without having taken his shirt off.
I'll tell you, one time I sat in the nosebleeds.
I know who Conor McGregor is from the last row.
Charlie Haas one time I sat in the last row and Charlie Haas was doing that gimmick where he was impersonating people and Hulk Hogan's music hit. I thought for like 5 minutes Hulk Hogan was out there, and it took me so long before I realized it was Charlie Haas. So don't give me that crap, Rocha.
Well, I'm sorry your brain doesn't work as quickly as other people.
No, it's called eyeballs, Rocha.
They don't work, clearly, and you need glasses. Yeah. And I've been telling you this for a month now.
Yes.
All right. Anyway.
Hell in a Cell. The ending sucked.
Yeah,
that
man.
we can agree with,
we can
right?
totally agree on. We can come together on that, my man. That was a horrific situation. Even X-Pac on the watch alone.
Which was so funny.
Called them out. All props to X-Pac for doing that, man. Sean was brilliant.
Yeah,
okay, you might not have me back, but
the rest of the show I enjoyed. I liked the Bailey. I liked the Bailey match. I liked Bailey and Charlotte, even though I know some people were against Charlotte regaining the title, but I liked the whole them playing off of the crying on the floor thing afterwards with Bailey. The Hell in a Cell match between Sasha and Becky was fantastic.
Tore down the house.
Yeah, fantastic.
Best match of the night.
Yeah, no question.
And I will say this, and I said this on live as well, top 5 cage matches I've ever seen. in my opinion.
It's a bold claim.
Because I saw spots in that 35 minutes of fighting that I never saw in any male cage match that blew me away. I mean, her sitting on a chair with kendo sticks propping her up and Becky coming off the ring to drop kick her in mid fucking air off the chair. Incredible.
That was one of those ones where like it looked really cool, but you go like, well, I'm pretty sure that would have hurt you more than them. But whatever.
But it's still awesome to look at.
Cool, so
and
whatever.
That's the point. Yeah, and Becky using the chain to punch Sasha.
I love that.
That wasn't no little ass chain that you get on those small fences. That was a thick piece of chain that John Cena used to wear around his neck when he was Thugonomics, Dr. Thugonomics. All that stuff was great. And those ladies gave and took. And Sasha took so many hits from her neck against the rope that I was getting scared. All those kicks that Becky did to her 3 times in a row against the fucking cage.
She's reportedly may have suffered an injury during the match.
No surprise. Yeah. They were taking an insane amount of bumps.
The day about it, I was like, no surprise. Like they were beating the hell out of each other.
They were, and it was a hell of a match. And so all props to both of them.
I think you worded that perfectly since we're running low on time. I think that was perfect. I loved the Kabuki Warriors won the tag titles. I like the heel edge.
The Muda, the green mist of the Muda. Great
awesome.
Muda.
I like it. I dig it. I like that something so simple can signify a heel turn. But there was also things during the match where they were clearly heeling it up during the match.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
And if that's all it takes for Vince to let them talk on the mic, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Fine.
At first I was like, well, I don't know if I want Kyrie to be a heel. She's so wholesome. She's got the pirate eyeglass thing, I love it. But then, last night when she came out with the pigtails, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that. She was healing it up more last night too. And I was like, okay, so I like that. But let's get to the main event. Man, what's pissed me off the most about the main event?
Sure.
Is that I was loving it until the end. Like
red light, fighting in the red light.
The red light
that irritated me.
You know what it was? The red light to me looked cool on television. I will give them that.
Who's the champ?
Seth.
Then he shouldn't be fighting in the red light. The red light is for the Fiend, and the Fiend is the challenger. The champ should not be fighting in deficit to the challenger. That was ridiculous. That was them catering to the fans.
No, because I look at like Gold. Didn't Goldust used to kind of wrestle in gold like that? And it was
I don't recall
Goldust.
that.
I remember Sin Cara had his little Sin Cara lighting for a long time, and it was just if he was in the match. I don't think it necessarily has to do with the champion. It's who's in the match.
I'm just saying.
But I think that the red lighting looked cool on TV, so I understand why they went for it. I understand the vibe they were going for. I will say, so this is very nitpicky in my opinion, but the live audience also matters, and I do think it was probably really annoying for the live audience. It was probably harder to see in the nosebleeds for the people like me.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think that so I can see how that would have been bothersome to people there. I kind of didn't hate it on television, but I can see how people were annoyed by it. It's a lot to just have this bright red light in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
But I got what they were going for.
Okay.
The match itself, though, I was loving that they were making the Fiend look like an absolute monster, like in full horror movie vibe. Getting hit with a kendo stick a bunch of times and then just turning around like he's Jason and just like, nope, that didn't register in the slightest bit.
All the foot stomps.
All the stomps and then just standing right back up. Yeah. All those things, I was like, oh man, like they are making Bray Wyatt the most unstoppable force in WWE history. Like he just took 15 stomps. I was like hyped. Yeah. I was like, man, this is awesome. Even that dumb mallet, I was into it. I was like, okay, also, how come the mallet is allowed when the mallet is this big?
Yeah. Right.
But the sledgehammer, which is this big, is too much and dignifies and deems worthy of a stoppage.
Ryan, you don't even have to go that far. How does someone get to use a massively thick chain on their hand to punch someone, which is more metal than a sledgehammer and can do more immediate facial damage to somebody? How are they allowed to get away with that one? But a sledgehammer is an issue.
Is a chain more damaging than a sledgehammer?
It's easier to wield. You can hit it.
Easier to wield.
You can do more damage in a quicker amount of time than with a sledgehammer because you have to yank this thing around and hit it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying.
I like
it's steel on skin.
No, you're fair. Also, how come you can throw someone off a Hell in a Cell and that doesn't dignify
a stoppage? That's an even better point.
Come on, I've seen I've seen Triple H and Mankind or Mick Foley get into some wild Hell in a Cell. Get out of here with that.
I think Triple H used the sledgehammer against Undertaker during one of their cage matches at WrestleMania.
The barbed wire, 2x4 that'll get used in those matches.
Yeah,
not cool, ref. Not cool.
It wasn't a ref, it was Vince. Say who's to blame here. The internet went, people booed.
Well,
chanted AEW at your paper.
Dude, that was the worst. That was not good for them. Like that, nope. Because on Raw they didn't mention this match until 2.5 hours into the show. And then that was the only time they mentioned it. They never showed Seth Rollins.
They started with Seth at the beginning, and it was all about the Rusev situation.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute. A pay-per-view just happened last night. How are you not going to reference it? And they didn't. And that is shameful, man.
Yeah. That's why I was so frustrated, because I loved it. I thought the match was doing so well. That chair shot he did to Wyatt's head, then the ladder. I was loving all of it until that finish. Like you said, that X-Pac thing where he just goes like, how the hell do you get a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match?
Yep.
It makes no sense. I mean, a Hell in a Cell match should be reserved for the most intense blood feuds.
Yep.
It should not be reserved for just some random throwaway thing where you're not going to put the title on someone. That crowd was so behind Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Not one person in that arena wanted to see Bray Wyatt lose that match.
Well, you don't want to make broad statements like that.
I'm making it. I made it.
It's been made. You said it felt like a majority of the fans. That's fair. I'm sure there's a number of people who want Seth Rollins to win.
No one wanted
who
it.
Don't like The Fiend because he's an evil person.
Fine. Speaking of evil people, I want to know why you love the Joker so much. Okay.
Wait, no. We're not jumping off this match just yet. You're not getting away this quickly. I said this months ago. They were pushing him too fast into the title fight, and this is what happened. Because they pushed him too fast, there wasn't enough history. They took a cheap way out, the creative did, and they got screwed by the fans and by the reactions within the arena. And why? Because you pushed him too quickly, so you knew yourself as the storyline writers that you had to have him not win the title this early, especially on the week where Lesnar already won and he's a damn heel. You can't have two heels holding your belts. And so at that moment, they knew, okay, how are we going to have him lose to Seth to make the decision? It was a decision that was erroneous and stupid and the cheap way out, but they wrote themselves into a corner and couldn't write themselves out of it.
The worst part, some of that I'm with you on. I don't know if I feel like they didn't push him too much too soon, but yes, I agree.
They shouldn't be in a title fight having
their
one
feud. Yes, they saw it clearly as shit. We booked ourselves into a corner because in our eyes, we can't give him the title yet.
Yes.
Because he's not there yet, even though he could. I think the audience dictated otherwise afterwards, because I think that they wouldn't have gotten that reaction had they given him the title. However, I do think that there are more creative ways they could have done that. To me, the reason people were most angry is because you had Bray Wyatt technically lose already. The Fiend now in his second match technically has a loss under his belt.
Yes.
Which you're like, really? Already? We're so into this. You didn't have to put him in a title match yet. So I think that was part of the issue. I was talking to James McKenna, who helps me with the site sometimes, and he pointed out to me a way more creative way that I think would have pissed off probably nobody would have been if Bray Wyatt had been the reason for the match stoppage, not Seth Rollins. And that was because he pulled Seth out of the cell and took him back to the funhouse. And we finally got to see someone taken to the funhouse.
Fair.
And then the match would have just ended because he left the match and took Seth to the funhouse. And we could have seen some weird thing on Raw this week where Seth's trying to get out of the funhouse, or he's fucking, or Seth's now weirdly in the funhouse and he has to find a way out. Something that would have been way more creative, in my opinion, than just a stoppage in a match that's supposed to have no stoppages.
Yeah, I don't.
It's supposed to be the one thing that is the end all be all of a blood feud that you can do whatever you want because it's hell in a cell. It means anything goes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you should.
Sorry for your microphones. I'm sorry for your ears for screaming.
I think you should have thrown him through the door. And I'll tell you why it works as well. And that's a great point from James, because A Fiend should not give a crap about a belt. Why does a Fiend care about being a champion of a wrestling promotion?
And I think that would have
matters nothing to him.
I think that absolutely would have displayed that much more.
Absolutely, because the whole point that he's been saying all the way, someone took something from me.
Yes.
Someone did this thing. I'm gonna burn it to the ground. I'm gonna do what you said you can do with your theme song and everything like that. I'm actually gonna show you what it means and burn it all to the ground. That would have made more sense by burning your champion, taking your champion and mentally messing him up. It isn't like what they did with Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family. No, this could be even more brutal, more vicious.
And you could have even used this as the gateway to find out what's actually going on
in the funhouse.
Because now he took someone there.
Good point.
So if let's say Liv is possibly part of this, like people have speculated on the internet, you could finally use Liv in that way because we finally see the other side of the camera. Who's been helping him with it. We could see what's going on in the funhouse a little more. Why Ramblin' Rabbit's so scared. To me, those are much more creative ways out of that than just a DQ in a match that doesn't have a DQ.
Somebody's got to be running those puppets if it's not him.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like this could have been the gateway into that because he dragged someone there. So I thought that was a great idea by James. I don't know if that was something that I saw online, but I liked it a lot.
Shout out to him for that.
Something I did see online that I was confused about is the Joker stuff, though.
Okay.
I know we got to fly by some stuff.
We do.
With Raw. But no, and I didn't dislike Joker. I don't know why you loved it so much.
I like it because I think it's a piece of art. I think it's incredible. I thought Todd Phillips had a really specific point of view he wanted to get across, and it probably irritated a lot of people. And you saw some of these snarky reviews laughing at the film, which I think is hilarious. Why don't you go make something even close to this? I thought it was funny to see those kinds of people just use that film to work out whatever they're working out. And other critics actually took it for what it was and looked at it and gave it their points of views and said, okay, I didn't like it because of this, this, and this, or I liked it because of this, this, and this. For me, the performance of Joaquin is incredible. I thought Todd Phillips held a mirror up to what's happening in our society in so many ways that maybe irritated people or people didn't like, but it doesn't mean it's not true. It's his point of view. And as a director, he had a distinct point of view of what he wanted to get across. And I think as it came along as an origin story, it's supposed to leave you feeling ugly and dirty and scared and uncomfortable. And it's not about mental illness at all.
Well, it was definitely about mental illness.
No. Mental illness, it's a different situation, right? This didn't address a chemical imbalance in the guy. This addressed something that happened to him as a child that sparked why he is the way he is. And you find that out later in the film. Now, does he have tics at the beginning of the film and through most of the film at the beginning of the first hour of the film, you see he's got these weird ways of operating within the world, right? But he's aware of it. He's aware of it, right? Is he screwed over by the system? Yes, that's another thing he pointed out, how the system throws out people who are mentally unwell or struggling with situations because they can't afford to keep them in these hospitals, and society has to deal with them. And that's what I meant. Overall, I think he's making a comment about society and what's happening in our world, even though it's set in the 80s, through the Joker character.
I think, honestly, that message is why I didn't like it. Is because I felt like, to me, the message was like, spoilers. If you haven't seen Joker, fast forward for like 3 minutes just in case, because I'm going to say a spoiler here. This is your last chance.
Okay.
Push fast forward a couple times. Last chance. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I felt like then the message was like, oh, if you're trying to get through life and it's just always beating you down, no matter how hard you try to fight it, no matter how hard you try to smile through it, no matter how hard you try to pretend it's not happening, that eventually the right thing to do is just give up.
No, he's saying that this person with this set of circumstances decided to act this way.
And look how much better it was for him when he decided to kill his idol.
I don't think that's better at all. I think he's stuck on a path.
Look how much at ease he was. No, he became at ease. That's the whole reason people are mad, because he became at ease with life when he decided to give up and kill his idol.
Right. So he is that kind of evil and that kind of person. I don't understand anybody who comes out of that film feeling empathy for that guy or sympathy for that guy. For that last moment alone, that's Todd saying to you, do not feel sympathy or empathy for this person. Because he walks out with footprints of blood on the ground. He kills that psychiatrist.
And people were like cheering it.
No, maybe in your theater, not in mine.
Mine there was.
Damn, that's a shame, because that should be happening. That's not a good person. And here's a newsflash: Michael Corleone is not supposed to be a good person in The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola went even deeper into Michael's evilness in the second one because he was mad that people liked Michael Corleone after the first film, that people cheered for him. He didn't understand why people cheered for this guy, right?
I think that's my problem with it.
But that's the comment about society. It's not about the film.
No, totally.
Society likes to cheer for evil people.
Yes.
We talk about it in wrestling
but
all the
I don't
time.
know if that's
the Fiend is evil.
But usually you show someone get their comeuppance. Usually in a movie like that, and that's why I think, yes, let's honestly, if Batman had been involved in some way in this movie, let me finish. If he had actually like been a presence, like someone that was fighting the Joker,
right?
I think I would have liked it a little more because honestly, it was probably the best origin story I've ever seen for a villain.
Yeah.
I think it just, when I watched it, I go, at the end, look how happy he was when he finally gave up, and the rest of society gave up with him, and that bothered me because I was like, "What a terrible message to be sending people!" Like,
I don't think that's the message, though. And
he's smiling as he's seeing the streets in chaos.
That is
because of what he did.
But that's an unstable person. That's
exactly.
an unstable person.
Exactly.
He's not a hero.
And the people are following it. It is 100% a message of what's going on right now.
Yeah, but I don't.
And it's scary.
Right.
And I think that probably is why I disliked it so much.
The window on society.
I don't like seeing people given that message. Yes, the acting was fantastic. Yes, the cinematography, everything about the movie was fantastic. Was great, the acting, everything. I just was like, at the end of it, I was just like, what message did that movie really tell people? Like, if anything, I mean, but I am, and we'll move on right after this.
Yeah.
I am hoping that they were lying about all this, like, isn't connected to Pattinson's Batman, because they showed young Batman the whole time in this movie. He's got to be connected to this has got to be connected to the Pattinson Batman, and that will end with finally seeing like where Joker is 20 years later or whatever, and then we get the next one, because if that happens, I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Because I will say it's one of the best Joker, like Joaquin, when he was fully formed as Joker, was fantastic.
But that's the thing, the Joker's got to come from somewhere.
No, and I get
that
it.
was the origin story. And
it's just mostly like Taxi Driver and blah, blah. Didn't he kill himself being a taxi driver?
No.
Or isn't there like a death?
He simulates it, which is what they do in the elevator as a reference to Taxi Driver.
But he
never does, because he comes back to in whether you believe it or not, that ending, he picks up Sybil Shepherd again in the taxi at the end and smiles in the rearview mirror.
So we're not to believe it. It's been so long since I've seen Taxi Driver.
That's your decision whether you want to believe that really happened or didn't.
It's an Inception movie at the end of it. Oh,
well,
God damn it.
Joker's an Inception movie too. How much of that is real or not real?
Honestly,
do you think he really got held up by those people out in the streets? I don't know.
It's funny. And maybe this makes me a bad movie watcher. I didn't even realize that was supposed to signal that. Spoiler alert again, in case you're still listening to the spoiler review here. I didn't realize that was all supposed to be in his head until I talked to my girlfriend like after the movie with the girlfriend stuff, and I was like, she was like, you realize that Zazie Beetz was in his head? And I was like, oh, but wait, if she was in his head, was the Robert De Niro stuff in his head? Because he did dream that whole scenario the first time he's on the show, and so then I was like, was this whole fucking movie in someone's head? God damn it, now I hate this movie even more. Now on to Raw.
No wonder you couldn't find Velasquez in a crowd. All right, let's move on to Raw. All right, we got to start. We only have 30 minutes to run through Raw. So
we'll skip some of the unimportant things.
Rusev came out, got beat up by a couple of guys from Team Flair. That's Randy Orton and King Corbin, alluding to the Bobby Lashley and Lana thing, which is absolutely terrible. I mean, you remove I almost want the Canellas thing back over this piece of garbage. But yeah, and he fought them off and whatever. Bobby Lashley's in his little thing with Lana. I thought it was ridiculous.
I loved how it was like, everyone's like, well, like my girlfriend was texting me or asking me at home.
So
she
terrible.
goes, what do you think WWE's going to do to like change the conversation after Hell in a Cell and kind of like make people think, bad, like kind of wipe the taste of that away from everyone? And I went, nothing. They're just going to do what they normally do. And she was like, you don't think? And I'm like, no, I'm almost positive. Like, that's just what they'll do. They'll just pretend like it didn't happen.
Pretend like it didn't happen.
And then
maybe that was a Joker movie.
They just go into this Lana thing. Just double down.
If you thought the ending of Hell in a Cell sucked, wait till we give you what we're going to start Raw with.
Now, I want to preface that by saying I like this soap opera stuff. So I know it's very divisive. I know some people like me, my dad, we get a kick out of these kinds of things. I know the more hardcore wrestling types like Rocha who just want to see wrestling matches
I
the whole time.
Good storylines.
Who mainly want to see good matches. They hate these kinds of things. I was cracking up at like Bobby Lashley just coming in like, oh, this robe? This means I'm in your bedroom. This means I'm in your house. And then them coming in and just him lifting up the thing for Lana and Lana taking off her top. It kind of shows more proof of what I was talking about the other day, that I really do think that they're going to try and show that Raw is the edgier product.
Because you mentioned edgier. Edge. Yeah. This is exactly what Edge and Lita did to Matt Hardy. This is the exact same thing. And after that feud was over, they doubled down. Remember that one?
Live sex session.
Yeah, the live sex session.
Sex celebration.
That was, I stopped watching for a while after that.
What?
Yeah, I thought that was the dummest thing in the world. And I love Edge.
We both have famous moments in WWE history that are beloved by many that we both stopped watching because of.
I love Edge and Lita. I totally love Edge and Lita. Legends. I've interviewed Edge. He's a fantastic guy. But I was like, I don't need to watch anymore.
Mine was when Jeff Hardy lost to The Undertaker in that ladder match on Raw. And people loved it. I was so mad, stopped watching. So at least we're both on that same page there. But I laughed. I was cracking up this whole thing. And honestly, at least they're going a different angle where like the way that she's going to get Rusev to remember the inner Bulgarian brute inside of him to stop being funny Rusev Day man and to be the angry man again is to cuck him out. I love that's the vibe there, because I did laugh that he was so mad about it that he just ruined Randy Orton and Baron Corbin. Yeah. So if that's what they're gonna do, if that's her new Rusev crush, is by just showing her on another man. I don't know, that's kind of a funny twist.
Yeah, but it's going to lead to a boring Bobby Lashley-Rusev match, so who cares? But that being said, if this puts Rusev over again, I'm all for it. Also, he looked fantastic.
And also, Lashley needs a mouthpiece.
He does.
If this is the new thing that they're doing with him, honestly, Lashley was hilarious on the blue carpet before SmackDown this week that I did. I posted it on the Wrestling Sheet Wrestling Sheet Twitter page, and him and Lana were hilarious together. Like he was talking about how like Lana leveled up and all this kind of stuff. They're a funny pair together, and that's just from a week of them knowing each other. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's good potential here.
All right, fair. I totally disagree with you. All right, Natty and Lacey do this last woman standing match. I am going to shock you again. I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Killed it.
I was so surprised how much it was. I was ready to change or fast forward, and it was really well done. And all props to Natty for taking the bumps that she took. Natty's not a spring chicken, and when you get older, and especially years of taking bumps and wrestling, that wears on you. And so seeing her be willing to take all those hits, all props to her. And Lacey taking the loss, that was really shocking. I thought they were going to put an exclamation point on this and be done with it, but Lacey ends up getting the victory. Natty ends up getting the victory.
I thought so too. I thought that it was going to be Lacey wins, and then they finally move on from each other.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they both brought it. Some people maybe didn't like it, but I thought they brought it. I thought they did a good job of really showing their intensity, both of them.
Yes. Yeah.
I loved that moment where Lacey threw Natalya to the stage at wall that's now like a half pipe. So when she threw her into the wall, Natty just slid down like a slide when she went. That was hilarious. And dude, the powerbomb off the stage.
Oh, that was incredible.
To end the match, that was pretty badass for those two ladies, man. Like I liked it.
I don't disagree with that. I thought it was fantastic as well. Let's see. Let's move on. Aleister Black. More fight me promos, which finally led to something. We're gonna jump around here, so this is gonna make it work. He did like a couple of these fight me promos.
He did one, and then he had the second one where it's like, never mind, I'm coming out, which was like, you just negated your first promo, though. Right. What was the point of the first one then?
And the Singh brothers were there, and he demolished the Singh brothers really quickly. So great waste of time, and we'll move on. I don't know.
I mean,
is there anything from this?
I like Aleister Black, so I'd like to see Aleister Black get established again, because it kind of felt like they were doing like a combine of sorts before the draft to kind of show who some of the like big players should be in the upcoming draft on Friday.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it was what it was. I thought that there was a little bit too much time wasted, mainly because I didn't understand the point of the first promo, if you were just going to have the second promo that says, I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, real impatient. It wasn't that long between promos if you were actually waiting.
Yeah.
I thought that part was a little silly. So, yeah, I like seeing Aleister Black on the show again, but
Right.
A little too much.
Yeah, don't disagree. Viking Raiders took on the Raw Tag Team Champions here, Ziggler and Rude. This was a good match as well, and the Warriors get the victory. So now they're going to fight for the title next week on Raw. But I thought overall, what have we been saying, right? Give them better competition. They're going to show what they got, and they really did against these guys.
Is it titles or title?
Tag team titles?
I think it's a tag team title.
No, tag team titles.
Trust me, I get very confused about this.
2 belts. It's a plural thing.
I'm pretty sure you say
you can win
tag team championships. No, you don't say you say the tag team championship.
It's tag team championship. It's tag team titles
because there's 2 of them,
right?
But why collectively one?
Because it's overall is a championship, but you get a title for the championship. So you get 2 titles for a championship when you're a tag team person.
That is fucking confusing.
Yeah, that's how it works, son.
Yes, I agree with you. I honestly just give them the belts. The Viking Raiders are an over team right now. They have awesome tag team maneuvers. I think they're 2 imposing forces. I think they stand out. They look like professional wrestlers. And that's not to say that Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler do not.
No.
I just think that the Viking Raiders bring something different. If you want Raw to look a little different than it's looked over the past few years under the guise of Heyman, give it to the Viking Raiders. They're a young, fresh team that nobody doesn't like. And then you've already, this is what I think is happening. I think that they win. They're going to win the tag team titles, and that's what these AOP vignettes have been about. That's why they've been building AOP up as well. They stopped positioning the Viking Raiders as heels. They've pushed them more as faces.
Their faces.
Now we've got AOP as heels, and then after the Viking Raiders win the tag team titles, AOP reemerges, and we've got a long AOP versus Viking Raiders feud that I think will rule ass, as they say.
Oh, rule ass. All right, fair enough. In the bat, we have a couple of interviews here with Tyson Fury, who's there with his kids and his wife, and Strowman in the back there. Strowman trying to play it off, saying, I was just having fun with the guy. Why is he taking it so seriously? Tyson's like, oh, no, he put his hands on me. This is a big deal, blah, blah, blah. This is crazy to me for so many reasons. And probably I would have felt, if I was a sports columnist back in the 70s or 60s when Ali fought Aoki, I would have said the same thing. Why, as a
Inoki.
I'm sorry? Inoki. As a currently fighting top heavyweight boxer, are you putting your body at risk in a situation like this? I don't understand, and it leads to an explosive ending of Raw, but like, to me, this is so dangerous. I just think this is so dangerous because anything can happen in a ring. We've seen wrestlers with all kinds of experience get hurt in random moments. The Sid Vicious jumping off the second rope and snapping his ankle. That's it. And he's as tall as Tyson Fury, if not them being taller than him. Yeah. So you've seen things like that. So I think this is a dangerous thing that Tyson is doing. I don't know. If I was his manager, I'd be losing my freaking mind like Mickey and Rocky.
I disagree on that on the manager side of things because while Tyson Fury is a big name in the UK.
He's a big name in boxing.
But boxing is not really the same. All
right, so Cain Velasquez is a world beater, but UFC, Tyson isn't.
Because UFC is way bigger than boxing in 2019.
You're insane. Go ahead.
Wait.
Did you not just see the Triple G match? Did you not just see all these middleweight championships and John Porter? And do you want to go look at those pay-per-view numbers versus the UFC pay-per-view numbers?
If you want to pretend like boxing is anywhere near the level of MMA in 2019.
You just threw SmackDown numbers at me to claim that they did better than AEW. You can't turn around and not say the numbers don't matter when it comes to boxing versus UFC.
I would guarantee you that if you compared the numbers, the boxing would be nowhere near the level of UFC.
We are going to do that.
I already know I'm right.
I'm going to write a post on Pro Wrestling.
There's a reason that nobody pays attention to what happens in boxing anymore.
Oh my God. Anyway, all right, go ahead.
I'm not wrong. You can look at the numbers. Boxing is almost on the brink of dying.
It isn't actually. That's the fallacy that people don't understand.
I mean, we get it. You're a boxing fan, but clearly there was a reason why boxing is not as well regarded as is highly regarded as it used to be.
When the Klitschko's had the belts, yes. Now, no. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Now with the upset that Ruiz did on Anthony Joshua, it's massive. You just had Pacquiao defeat the undefeated Keith Thurman. You just had Sean Porter battle with Errol Spence Jr. an incredible match, and then Triple G last night. Those pay-per-view numbers are in the millions. That's what I'm telling you.
You're not understanding what I'm saying.
UFC's in the 500,000s or 200,000s. If Ronda isn't on it, UFC doesn't sell. If McGregor isn't on it, UFC doesn't sell.
Well, I'll show you the numbers afterwards.
Okay, I'll show you the numbers afterwards.
It's not even comparable.
They'd say, exactly. Boxing is so much better. All right, let's move on. You're insane.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see the YouTube comments here because everyone already loves to make fun of you for how when you throw out fake facts like that.
I don't throw out fake facts.
The YouTube comments are going to be great.
What fake facts have I thrown out? I'd love to see people
saying that boxing is making more money than UFC or even on the same level as UFC in 2019.
You're insane. All right, let's move on. What else do you want to talk about?
To answer what I was trying to say before you threw out those crazy statements is that because boxing is not as big in the United States as it used to be, and because Tyson Fury is a much bigger deal in the UK, I think they're using WWE to up his status in the United States so people can see him for the showman that he is.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Rey Mysterio comes out, gets interviewed about Dominic, how Lesnar brutalized Dominic, and then, of course, pitches Cain, and Cain's going to be, who doesn't show up at all. Didn't show up at all. Lesnar didn't show up at all. So there you go.
Well, he's on SmackDown now.
Who is?
Well, probably. He's the WWE champion.
We can play both.
We actually didn't even talk about that on the WWE when we talked about all of SmackDown. The fact that Kofi lost
my God, we should talk about that. Let's talk about that.
1 minute.
11 seconds.
11 seconds.
It was disgusting. And no matter what Daniel Bryan's tweet is, which is a really sweet tweet to Kofi, that was a terrible decision. But I thought WWE from Friday on absolutely made the worst decisions they could have made about a number of the big endings to their shows. And I was just surprised overall. Anyway, all right, let's move on here.
Honestly, I've been saying on this recap show for a long time that I thought that's what was going to happen on this show, that I thought Brock Lesnar was going to be Kofi.
Seconds.
I will say, yes, I agree. I think that it would have been better if in my opinion, what would have been better is if Kofi had kicked out of like 5 F5s. Then I would have been like, I think it would have helped the people who were angry a little more. If he had like kicked out, Brock gets angry, does another one, kicks out, Brock is angry, does 3 in a row and then pins him. I think people would have been less angry about the situation.
Yeah, agreed. All right, anyway, Lucha House Party takes on the OC. Well, I don't know what you want to talk about that. The OC wins. Big deal. Let's talk about a recap of Sasha and Becky. That was a fantastic match. We already talked about that. Miz TV welcomes out Becky with Charlotte. They go at it verbally about who's the better champion, who's the more whatever prominent champion. And then the Kabuki Warriors come out full heel, fresh off their victory at Hell in a Cell, wearing those SmackDown tag team. Wearing the women's tag team championships, and they verbally challenged them in Japanese, which I thought was great, and making fun of them over. There's nothing worse than being made fun of by somebody who's speaking to another person in a different language that you can't understand. There's nothing that insults you more because you can't even figure out what to be offended by.
That's such a good point. Yeah, absolutely. And I liked it because it just felt so much more natural to them. And the fact that you couldn't understand them either, you're like, well, what are they even saying?
Right.
What are they saying? But it sounds mean though. I like it.
It's very mean.
Yeah, but I liked it. I like that.
Put translations, but
like Grover was saying too.
Yeah.
But they do that. Their mind is gonna turn into like Kai and Tai, where it's just like Bruce Pritchard in the back being like, indeed.
Then Becky calls out Asuka because she's sick of it, and says, "Come get some. I've been waiting for this." Then they rush the ring and beat each other up all over Miz TV set, and then we come back and the match happens, and this is a good damn match. Even though the way it ends with the Muda green mist again, which somehow the referee keeps missing as a disqualification thing, I thought this set the table really well for these two to go at it down the road in terms of Asuka and Becky, but also the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky and Charlotte. I look forward to that down the road as well. What'd you think?
I also thought it was a great match. I thought the two teams did a killer job. I'm liking the heel antics of Kabuki Warriors. Yeah. Kairi was doing some fun stuff to kind of play up that she's a heel now. And honestly, the Miz TV thing with Becky, talking about Asuka, I feel like they're building towards that being the next feud of Becky versus Asuka, even though Asuka has the women's tag titles. and that needs to be a thing. I think that Asuka has every, character-wise in kayfabe sense, she has every reason to want to get revenge against Becky and take that title from Becky. She's been sitting on the sidelines this whole time. So yeah, I personally believe that that's going to be awesome. So yeah, I'm pumped about that.
Yeah, this is what I look forward to overall. This match, because like if Becky's going to keep elevating herself, the challengers have to keep getting better and better, right? Asuka was this great undefeated champion for a very long time at NXT and into WWE. So bringing her back into prominence, showing what she can do, and even having her take the belt off Becky once and for all would be something incredible to watch. To see Asuka be double belted at some point, that would be such a blast to see happen, and maybe have her wrestle twice in one pay-per-view to defend both titles. That'd be fantastic as well. So overall, I'm a big fan of this. Initially, I didn't like the heel turn, but now I'm coming around to it because Kairi Sane is doing a great job being the giggling little thing and just making fun of you. That just gets right under your nerves or right under your skin. So I love that.
It's making me mad because I'm looking at my phone to see if I can find anything, and it's so hard to find which one's like more popular right now.
No, really?
Yeah,
you would think it'd be easy to find if one was more popular than the other.
Well, no, there's just lots of articles that are comparing the two.
Yeah, there are.
He acts like he's 100% right when he knows he's not.
There's nothing wrong with I believe in myself. Anyway, we waste time.
All cocky when he's not even, his point isn't even being proven, and he's acting all cocky over
the
here.
outlaw. What do you want? Apollo Crews and Ricochet. This was a waste of a match, other than, like you said, just showing off what Apollo Crews can do before the draft. Where everybody knows what Ricochet can do. And then we go into the Jerry Lawler situation. What's going on? I'm sorry, what's going on?
No, I was just saying.
Oh, okay. And we go into the Jerry Lawler situation, and he brings out Tyson Fury, and they go at it. He interviews him there, and then Strowman comes out in the middle of Tyson's reaction. They go face to face. Strowman once again tries to defend it, saying, "Hey, I was just making fun, but didn't think it was a big deal." And then Tyson goes back at him and says, "How many heavyweight titles have you won?" Boom! And then pushes him, and here we go. This was insane and so dangerous.
Also, wait, if you love boxing so much, why are you so against this Tyson Fury thing?
I think because it's dangerous. I think, and also because,
why do you care about Tyson Fury's future?
And let me be honest with you, because Tyson's been very, very open about his mental health struggles, and he's talked about it. It was one of the reasons when he fought a year ago or two, he went into a deep depression, and he spoke about climbing out of the deep depression, what it took for him.
Okay.
So for me, I cheer for him from that place, and he had been doing some weird stuff and been really strange, and it was because he hadn't addressed his mental health stuff. And they finally did take the medication, and he's doing well. And you see him being happy. And he fought a hell of a fight against Deontay Wilder, and people are looking forward to that rematch. And I think that guy can actually climb all the way back to win his title and get back to that place of prominence. So I cheer for him as a person because of that, because not a lot of boxers are really open about the mental health stuff they go through. So to me, he's won my heart because of that. And I think it's dangerous for him to be involved in something like this, because you could get hurt. A wrestler could trip and fall on his leg or his knee or his ankle. That could send him into an injury place. And if he goes into an injury place, would that send him back into a mental health or depression place? I don't want that to happen. So,
and you don't think that's kind of like overthinking it a little bit, considering he's just going to be doing, like, it's not like there's never been anyone famous that's like done an appearance in wrestling.
Look, I'd love to be a 20-year-old and not care about the world, but I'm at my age and I look at things in a bigger perspective. And so for me, I worry about him because of that.
I mean, like,
that's
Mayweather is like a quarter of the size of Big Show, and he did just fine.
Yeah, Mayweather's a whole nother animal because he doesn't talk about anything with his mental health.
No, I know, but what is it? I'm talking about the injury factor of things.
No, but you saw those guys who fought in the Royal Rumble, those NFL guys, they all were injured afterwards. They all were. Lawrence Taylor said he couldn't walk for 2 weeks. Somebody else said, I forget who else was involved in it. It takes a whole extra level, and that's respect to the wrestlers. Boxing is not wrestling.
You realize he's not doing like a full wrestling match, right?
I don't know what he's going to do.
He's not going to do a whole wrestling match.
3 weeks later.
He's a boxer, Rocha.
3 weeks later in a pay-per-view.
Have you never watched WWE? It's like you've never... Sometimes I feel like I'm like... What
are you talking about?
You act like there's never been a celebrity that's been in a match before.
No, I'm not... Wait, you just said he's not going to be in a match.
No, I'm just saying he's not going to be wrestling and doing body slams and fucking doing... He's going to come in, he's going to do a few things, probably going to tag match, punch a few times. He's not going to be, like, doing all this stuff that you're, like, worried about his well-being. Like I'm so confused to why you're taking this on such a macro level of, like, you're worried about this guy's future as opposed to just, like, whether you enjoyed watching this fun segment between the two of them.
I'm sorry, I can't just remove things and look at it in a vacuum. I'm sorry I can't do that. I'm sorry I have to look at it with more factors involved, especially with all those wrestlers in the ring. What happened to Becky? All those wrestlers came in with the Nia situation. Nia punched her in the nose, broke her fucking nose.
That's why we like wrestling, though.
Yeah, but I don't want the wrestling to affect or hurt this guy who is on his way back to a place of prominence for himself that I think he's earned. That's my concern.
I just can't think of a time a celebrity came into WWE and did an appearance and got injured. I mean, The Rock, he's a wrestler. He was a wrestler and he was doing wrestler stuff. Right.
But it'd been a while.
Yeah, but that's The Rock, and he was doing wrestler stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Tyson Fury is not going to be doing rock bottoms and stuff. I don't know.
Well, rock bottoms is easy. The body slam is where I think you're right. But celebrities have come in and had actual fights and did wrestling moves in those fights before.
And they didn't get injured.
Yeah, I guess. Leno didn't get injured, did he?
That's the whole point of I don't know. I'm confused as to why it's like
I didn't
like it. No, I
have a concern.
I understand being concerned for the guy, but it's weird to be like, I didn't like it because of these things that have nothing to do with what I watched on TV.
Tyson coming out, I didn't care. Because Tyson was the baddest man on the planet. No, because he's the baddest man on the planet, and I know he can handle himself. That wouldn't be an issue.
7 feet tall.
I know, but Tyson,
giant dude.
Somebody could fall on his knee. That's all I'm getting at. The danger that could come with that. And watching him clawed around the ring with Strowman didn't give me any more confidence that he wouldn't injure himself. So I'm just saying.
I loved the segment.
Okay.
I like those kind of big pull-apart brawls because I like when there's someone who, for me, a lot of times one of the things that's important for me is believability of if I think the people in the ring fighting between the two of them would actually be a fight. If it would actually matter. If these two guys were going up against each other, would one be able to actually hold their own? And that believability factor is something that is very important to me while watching wrestling. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I can never watch a small guy versus a big guy because guys like Rey Mysterio, that's why I like guys like Rey Mysterio because they show that they can hang and use that to their advantage, their height or whatever. But so I liked seeing a guy like Tyson Fury who can kick ass being held up against, being face to face with Braun and it taking so many people to hold them back. I liked it. It got me hyped for whatever they're going to do with the two of them. So I'm into it.
Okay, fair enough. There you go. Well, all right, that's Raw for you. The recap, the Joker review, the Hell in a Cell review, the SmackDown review,
the Wrestling Sheet debate,
AEW versus TNT review. Let's see, UFC 237, 813,000 views. 813 from 2019. That's from May of 2019. UFC 2 with BJ Penn, Clay Guida, Antonio, Rogerio Nogueira, all those guys fighting. I'm just saying. It's less than a million.
There was one pay-per-view that was less than a million?
It's an example. There were a number of them.
You can find way more boxing pay-per-views that were less than that.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
Okay.
There's no way.
In 2019.
You're talking about
You said 2019. That's what we look at.
I guarantee it. In 2019, boxing is not as big as UFC. Yes, it still does well on pay-per-view and stuff, but I'm just saying that more people... boxing is not as popular as UFC.
What are you basing that on?
Life. No one talks about boxing.
I'm using facts, but you want to use life. That's fine.
I'm talking about the fact that nobody talks about boxing. You never hear about boxing
ever. You can't talk about it because you're not a sports guy.
No, I can talk about it because I am part of the public. I am part of the public.
Yeah, but you don't like sports.
I like.
So no one will talk to you about
sports. I like UFC. I'm very aware of those kinds of things.
You're aware of UFC? Yes, sure.
Because it's being part of the mainstream.
But you're not aware of boxing.
Boxing is not part of the mainstream.
But it is.
It's not.
It's just not part of your mainstream.
You watch it.
No, I'm a regular sports guy. So
I'm part of the mainstream.
We cover
and I am telling you that the mainstream
can't
can't name any boxer outside of Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather.
Okay. And how many current fighters could the mainstream name?
Of UFC?
Yeah.
So many more.
Current.
So many more.
Okay. All right.
Way more.
Once you get past McGregor, I'd be shocked that the mainstream could name someone that currently fights. Maybe Khabib. Maybe.
Way more than boxers.
You're insane.
You got two boxers.
Anyway, there we go. That's the end of our recap because we've been talking way long.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week at Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/ Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find all the videos. That's where you can find my interview with Triple H, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Bianca Belair, Johnny Gargano. I left that one out too earlier. I'm going to post another interview today with Candice LeRae. I interviewed Bianca Belair and Street Profits as well. They're all on there. I also have more interviews to come later in the week that I shot on the blue carpet. There's two specifically, one with Baron Corbin and one with Goldberg that I like a lot. So keep your eyes out on the Wrestling Sheet YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see them when they go up. Like the videos, comment as well. But if you just want to listen to these shows and eventually those interviews as well on the podcast feed, just search on your favorite podcast platform from Wrestling Sheet Radio.
That's right. You can follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says, and I'll tell you about all the networks that carry boxing and the two networks that carry UFC. Tell you the popularity. That'd be DAZN.
That doesn't mean
that'd
anything.
Be HBO, Showtime,
which is
Fox,
DAZN,
all kinds
which
of
is a
stuff.
streaming service that people have to specifically get. That doesn't show shit.
That's what Canelo is on, and you can only watch his matches on DAZN and Triple G as well.
Because they had to start their own streaming service because the other place didn't give a shit about it.
No, because there's enough people that would be interested to stream it and watch it at $10 a month.
UFC's had their own streaming service for years.
Yeah, let's look at the numbers on that. All right, that's it. We're done. We're out of here. We'll probably settle this debate on social media, so look for that, and take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you next week. I don't know what's happening. Ryan will release a schedule soon.
I'm working on it. There's things so much behind the scenes. I'm working on it.
So much that he's had to carry, and so far he's had to go. So give him a break. He'll have something coming out soon. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
ProWrestlingSheet.com